And good afternoon, Sags. Once again, it's always said Wembley is no place for losers, and that is never more true than today. 9.5 months of hard work rests on the next 90 minutes, and the future of players, managers and a number of hard-working people who help keep their clubs going under the radar may depend on what happens in the final match of the season. Fulham have no Wembley experience in their starting lineup. Villa have a full team who've been here before, but the playoffs are no respecters of history or experience. This is knife-edge football at its best or worst, depending on how it goes. A reminder of the teams again. It's the same Fulham side which beat Derby to come from behind in their playoff semi-final second leg at Craven Cottage. Bettinelli in goal, Fredericks, Odoi, Ream and Target, Johansson, Kearney and McDonald, Kamara, Mitrovic and Sessegnon. The bench for Fulham: Button the goalkeeper, Font, Aite, Norwood, Piazon, Christie and Callas. For Villa, one change from their second leg. El Mohammadi comes in for Bree. It's Johnston in goal, El Mohammadi, Terry, Chester and Hutton, Snodgrass, Horahan, Jedinak and Adoma. Grealish behind Graben. Their bench: Whelan, Hogan, Bree, Onomar, Bjarnason, Kodja and Bunn the goalkeeper. It is black and white to our left, claret and blue to the right. Fulham just making Aston Villa wait in their pre-match huddle, and there is no lack of motivation in there. Aston Villa just drinking it in. Of course, many of their players have experienced so many games here before, notably John Terry for both club and country, and it's Fulham who will get the final match of the EFL Championship season underway. A place in the Premier League is at stake, and it's live only here on Talk Sport, the home of the EFL. Anthony Taylor gets us off and underway, and in the sunshine, Fulham in their white shirts, black shorts and white socks. Aston Villa in their claret and blue shirts, white socks, or white shorts and claret socks, and Fulham, understandably perhaps in the conditions, taking their time at the start. Dennis Odoi, their match winner in the second leg with a very rare goal, just heads into traffic inside the centre circle. The challenge comes in from Jedinak, and it bobbles all the way through towards Bettinelli. Dean Ashton.
Well, there's one thing that Fulham won't do, and that's panic. I think the main thing about football players is if you can make it as simple as you possibly can, and Fulham know that they've only got one way to play and they'll stick to it. And already we've seen they've started to play their possession. Johansson just winning a free kick in the middle of the park. I think Villa are certainly not going to press. They're going to allow Fulham to have the ball at the back.
And it was cluttered into by the bearded Mile Jedinak, the Australian, and it's a Fulham free kick, and Kenny has it down this near side. The Fulham fans in the sunshine away to our left, the bulk of the Fulham half and their supporters still bathed in what is a very warm sun. The Villa half and their fans are in the shade as it's knocked forward towards this right hand side, looking for the speedy Ryan Fredericks, but it's beyond him, and it's gathered by Sam Johnston, who many believe, Dean, may be lucky to be playing in this game.
Certainly, yes, but what a game to be a part of. And he'll certainly be glad that he's in the shade in this half. Bettinelli, I'm just wondering, has he got a cap in that goal if he possibly needs it with the sun going down? I know there was trouble in the FA Cup final because of that.
Well, Sam Johnston, of course, was only booked by Mike Dean for a deliberate handball in the closing stages of Villa's semi-final second leg against Middlesbrough. Many believe it should have been red. As Sessegnon, his first match as an 18-year-old, out on the left-hand side, and it's worked back towards Bettinelli. Fulham playing their first match at Wembley for 43 years. Nobody in English football has had such a large wait between two games, or 15,279 days, as Odoi comes forward on this near side. He's been dragged to the ground, and Anthony Taylor spotted that, and it's another free kick. Steve Bruce in shirt sleeves to the right in the Villa technical area, always a very avuncular figure, and it's the more brooding Slaviša Kanovic to his left as Fulham look to build on the far side. 2.5 minutes played at Wembley in the Championship playoff final on TalkSport. The only place to hear this game and the Champions League final at 7:45. Now Mitrovic moving forward, midway inside the Villa half. Wide to this near side, and Fredericks, who will look to take on Adoma. Infield towards Kamara. Kearney again transfers it quickly to Kevin McDonald, who has to spin and turn and find Kearney. And Fulham are not really picking their passes in the opening moments here. Now Adoy with a good ball to find Mitrovic, who spins on the edge of the penalty area. Back towards McDonald. A very precise ball wide to the left, and Matt Targett, on loan from Southampton, looks to work the 1-2 with Sessegnon, but it was overhit. El Mohammadi tries to shepherd the ball behind, and eventually it has gone behind for a goal kick.
Well, Aston Villa haven't had a meaningful pass yet in the game. Fulham have been more than comfortable, and that's twice in one little period that Mitrovic has just been able to get the ball into feet. That's exactly what he wants. He did it brilliantly in the second half against Derby. Really shoves his backside in, holds the ball up, and then he's waiting for runners. Camera, Sessegnon, who that was too easy. Jedinak's got to do his duty. He has to have a little swivel round, check where Mitrovic is, make sure that ball doesn't go easily into his feet.
Johnson clears long downfield, but you can hear the chant of Ream from the Fulham supporters as the American rises to head the ball out on the far side for a Villa throw-in in front of the huge black tarpaulin, which stretches all the way up from the touchline, all the way through the three tiers of Wembley Stadium. That is the dividing line between the two supporters. 38,000 tickets available to both sides, and both sold out, as Hutton, playing on the left on this near side, looks to work it into the sunshine for Adoma, but eventually the challenge comes in and it ricochets off Grealish, and it will be a throw into Fulham on this near side. 4 minutes played, 0-0.
I'm just looking at the way Villa have set up. I just wondered where Grealish would play. Would he play a little bit higher with Graben? He's actually gone into midfield to almost make, ahead of Jedinak. There's 4 players, but as soon as they get the ball, or as soon as they go to press, he's the first one that goes.
And it's gathered by Snodgrass, on loan from West Ham United. Is given the room to turn, tries to play in Adoma down the left-hand side, but Ryan Fredericks doing just enough to get his body between Adoma and the ball, and it drifts behind for a goal kick to Fulham.
Yeah, it was good defending, wasn't it? That's going to be an interesting battle, Adoma against Fredericks. Both got real pace, and I thought Adoma thought he was probably in, and Fredericks just got that extra bit of pace out of his legs and did enough.
Fulham finished the regular season on 88 points, which would have been enough to go up automatically in 18 of the previous 19 seasons, but such was the pace set by Cardiff City. They finished 2 points outside the automatic promotion places, having lost at Birmingham on the final day, as Hutton charges forward down the left. The challenge comes in, but no free kick awarded, and Fulham will look to come forward now with Kearney. Now McDonald pirouettes inside the centre circle. Lewis Graben looks to grab hold of him, but it's Ream back towards McDonald again, and Fulham beginning to find their stride here as McDonald goes down midway inside the Villa half, but no free kick is given, and Snodgrass will try and charge forward. The challenge now comes in from Sessegnon. He then collides with Jedinak, and it's Mitrovic who comes away with the ball, but his ball wide towards the right hand side doesn't find Kamara. There's momentary chaos inside the midfield area before Johnston booms it long downfield.
I mean, you wouldn't think that the Fulham players have never played at Wembley and are so inexperienced as they are, because they've been so calm, so comfortable on the ball, just looking to play their way. Lovely bit of bite as well from Sessegnon to win the ball back.
Now Kearney, the Fulham captain, coming over the halfway line again towards this near side, the right. Kamara steps in field, and providing the width is Fredericks, but it's back towards Kearney again, and Villa at the moment are filling the gaps in the wide areas. Adoma and Snodgrass are both tucking in, making it very difficult for the Fulham fullbacks to get forward, but now Sessegnon turns in field from the left hand side, pokes it in field. Mitrovic was caught, but the early ball delivered into the penalty area from Targett. The referee, Anthony Taylor, allowed play to continue. Mitrovic is still down, clutching his ankle, and to some frustration from Slavisa Kanovic, who would like some treatment, but Villa have been given the opportunity to play on and will do so. Grealish finding Jedinak, and now wide to this near side, and Alan Hutton, who on so many occasions has looked to be on his way out of Villa Park, but has been a mainstay for Steve Bruce when fit this season. His long ball down the centre was looking for grab and overhit and gathered by Bettinelli.
It's actually a great decision from Anthony Taylor, because he's given the advantage to Fulham, who had got the ball wide looking to cross the ball, and they could have scored from it. But I'd be amazed that when the ball doesn't stop, that he doesn't go to James Chester and give him a yellow card, because Mitrovic has just flicked that round the corner. James Chester's come right through the bottom of his ankle. and he would have given the free kick. He was ready to give the free kick, but allowed play to continue.
7 minutes played at Wembley. Fulham 0, Aston Villa 0. In the Championship playoff final, live and exclusive to national radio here on TalkSport, with the Champions League final, Liverpool against Real Madrid, coming up at 7:45 with commentary from Jim and Alvin. And now a yellow card has been flourished in the direction of James Chester, and Dean Aston called that right. And it's a long time now in the game to sit on that yellow card.
It is, yeah. I mean, I'm sure Mitrovic will just have a little chuckle to himself and think there's one down. I'm looking to get on John Terry as well, because James Chester literally can't go and engage Alexander Mitrovic, especially when he goes into his feet.
We'll get the early thoughts of Phil Brown once this Fulham attack has been completed. It's Ream on the halfway line, infield towards McDonald, and now Ream again. And the press is very high and very swift from Horahan on this occasion. Odoi forward towards Mitrovic, who spins away from Terry, but this time the challenge comes in from Conor Horahan, a playoff winner here with Barnsley in League One a couple of years ago. And Fulham have the ball back again, and they are dominating possession, as we thought they might in the opening stages here. Kenny infield towards Odoi, who steps away from Graben and now charges forward to this right hand side. Kenny again has Fredericks on his outside, but he finds Kamara. It's wide, looking for Fredericks, but the ball will drift out of play by the corner flag, and it will be a throw in to Aston Villa. And here are the early thoughts of Phil Brown.
Dean's made a couple of great points there, you know, with regards to the possession that Fulham have got. It's very slow and pedantic to a certain extent, and it's the discipline of the midfield five of Villa. If they can stay within that system and stay in a focused position when they haven't got the ball, when they get it back, they've got to keep it. And I noticed straight away, I think it was El Mohammadi, they had about 20 passes, Fulham, and it came to El Mohammadi and you launched it forward. Stevie Bruce absolutely berated him. You've got to keep possession. Once you've worked hard within the discipline of the team, you've got to then keep possession when you get it back.
And Grealish now slides into Rob Fredericks on this near side. It spins into the Aston Villa technical area, and it will be a Fulham throw-in. 10 minutes played at Wembley. No real conclusions drawn in the opening stages as Johansson flicks it on towards Sessegnon, who wins the ball in the air. Kamara, though, unable to fasten on to the flick on as John Terry cushions his header back towards Sam Johnston. Of course, Villa have played 14 times previously at Wembley in the FA Cup, the League Cup, and also the Charity Shield as it was. And John Terry was here as a teenager when Chelsea beat Aston Villa in the last FA Cup final at the old Wembley. He was an unused sub on that day back in 2000, and Ryan Sessegnon on that day was 2 days old, which just gives you an indication of the changing generations on both teams. But Sessegnon has done so much as a 17-year-old, now 18 years of age, and already he has shown up well in the early stages, challenging on the far side and forcing Horahan to go to ground, and Villa have a free kick.
But Alexander Mitrovic, he's chosen James Chester to be on. Every single time that Fulham have got the ball, I'm watching him, he just drifts across away from John Terry, doesn't really want that battle, knows that he's got more experience, and he just drifts across onto James Chester. And now that he's been booked as well, he is getting the better of him. Every single time it comes into him, he's holding the ball up, he's trying to link the play, he's battling, he's up and winning his flick-ons against James Chester.
Ream has it on the far side, infield towards Odoi, and Fulham are happy to be very patient, almost at walking pace, when they have the ball inside their own half. And now Odoi, pressurised by Graben, will knock it long downfield onto the head of Terry, who nods it wide towards Hutton to his left. Hutton finds Adoma, and Villa are finding it very difficult to work the ball forward through the midfield, but they will get the opportunity now as Johansson clatters into Adoma, and it's a Villa free kick on this near side there left.
I think that's like what Phil said about Steve Bruce, very, very animated on the side. He knows that it's going to take a lot of energy if you're going to keep allowing Fulham this amount of possession. I think he'd love, as soon as they get towards the halfway line, a little bit more intensity just to win that ball back, and then a bit of calmness on the ball.
Well, Villa have been at the most dangerous this season when they get the ball into the wide areas, and the likes of El Mohammadi, Adoma and Snodgrass deliver those crosses in. 30% of Villa's goals have come from crosses, which is a record which is among the best in the Championship, and Fulham, significantly, are at their weakest when they conceded goals from headed positions in terms of goals they've let in. But at the moment, Villa are finding it very hard to even get into the Fulham half. A long ball is played forward again by Johansson. It was looking for Sessegnon down the right-hand side, but Sam Johnston, alert to the danger, came out and grabbed on the edge of the area.
Well, they need a bit more pressure. If they're going to allow McDonald that amount of time on the ball just to get his head up and then look for the runs of Sessegnon and Cameron, it was Sessegnon that time, tried to make the run out on the outside of El Mohammadi, and he got in front of him. It's good goalkeeping from Johnston.
Now Snodgrass does well to flick on the long ball from Johnston. But Graben, who is looking very isolated as the Villa main striker at the moment, playing up against both Adoy and Ream, and both of the central defenders exchange passes between each other as he loses out once again, as the shadows gradually just begin to creep towards the Fulham goal away to our left-hand side. But the sun is still very intense into the eyes of Marcus Bettinelli. Fredericks for Fulham on the far side, back towards Adoy again, and Villa are just beginning to get their press in order in all areas of the field, and Bettinelli's clearance almost goes straight to Graben. Now it's gathered by Snodgrass early to the left-hand side, looking for Adoma, but the pace of the ball gave the Ghanaian no chance to get the shot in. It's behind for a goal kick, but we saw moments of carelessness from Fulham in both of the semi-finals, and there was another one there.
Well, there's the real threat, isn't it? If they don't get it right, Bettinelli with a loose pass into midfield, almost trying to be a bit too clever. And if Villa do try and nick that ball there, that's where they're dangerous. And if Snodgrass could have put a better weight of pass on that for Adoma, he was clean through.
14 minutes played, 0-0. And don't forget, the TalkSport app is the best way to stay connected to your favourite sports radio stations. Downloading the TalkSport app allows you to listen live 24/7. Of course, we have every game exclusive from this playoff finals weekend. The League One final tomorrow here on TalkSport, the League Two final on TalkSport 2 on Monday, and of course this summer we'll bring you all 64 games live from the World Cup in Russia right across the TalkSport network. Visit talksport.com/apps or your provider's app store to download today. Adoma, who has looked to provide much of the pace coming forward for Villa, has to defend on this near side, and it's played back towards Sam Johnston, defending the Villa goal in the shade away to our far side. And Villa at the moment have enjoyed, if that's the right word, 28% of possession, but we've seen this from Fulham all season, and it doesn't automatically mean they're going to win.
No, it doesn't, and actually they haven't created any meaningful chances, have they? And Aston Villa have been fine, they'll be happy. I'm sure John Terry will be organising his team and saying we're fine, look, as long as they don't get in behind us, nothing to worry about here, and then they'll still look to get into the game and get the crosses in.
El Mohammadi with an early ball forward, it's beyond Graben, and then it's looped towards goal by the head of Adoma, but he had to rise above Fredericks, and as a result the header lacked power, and it floated gently into the arms of Bettinelli. He quickly bowled the ball out, but Villa have it back. Grealish for the first time on the ball, and he is quickly hacked down by Kearney, and it will be a free kick to Aston Villa 15 yards inside the Fulham half with 16 minutes played on TalkSport, and it's still 0-0.
Well, there's a glimpse of what he's all about. Jack Grealish just picking the ball up, looking to go at Kearney. He waited, little jink inside, and then he's got that little turn of pace. Clearly taken out, and wants a yellow card, he's not going to get it.
And Steve Bruce just having a long conversation with Kevin Friend, the fourth official, and I think he was saying, look, our first challenge got the yellow card, why didn't that one?
Yeah, I mean, I can see what he means, but to be honest, the challenges were totally different in my eyes.
Now Adoma coming forward on this near side, the left, from the free kick, back inside towards Grealish with the hair swept back onto the right foot. It's backheel towards Snodgrass, a low shot threaded through the penalty area, nobody got a touch, and it's some way wide.
Again, class from Jack Grealish, just fainting as if he's going to shoot, little backheel roll to Snodgrass, and he would expect himself to do a lot better from that position. He's sort of 18 to 20 yards out on his favoured left foot, no one closing him down. He just really does snatch across it, drags it, no real pace on the cross. I just wonder, Phil, just seeing two of the backroom staff of Steve Bruce come out and speak. What what's he going to be saying at this point?
I think it'll be down to the tactics. They'll have the analysts right up in the gods. You know, they'll be looking at the structure of the team, and the way you've just described it there. They set a trap for a goal kick to allow Fulham a false sense of security, almost play from the back. Go on, we'll let you have it. Then it's Jack Grealish that put the squeeze on, and they've got the possession, and basically they've ended up in the final third, and they're staying in the final third. They'll be happy with this. Stevie Bruce will be absolutely delighted if the ball ends up with the keeper. And now you've got the sitting midfield player, Jedinak. He's the closest man to the ball. So it's just setting them traps, Dean. And I think it's purely down to the tactical battle that the analysts will be seeing up in the gods.
Terry back towards Johnston, and it's cleared long downfield onto the head of Ream, and quickly back again from Villa, but Ream recovers well under pressure from Lewis Grabban to find his goalkeeper. And we've just seen on our monitor that His Royal Highness Prince William is here watching today, an Aston Villa fan. He's been given a pass out after being otherwise engaged last weekend. Kenny coming forward now for Fulham, and it's a good ball inside Adoma, looking for Fredericks. Fredericks is strong, but on this occasion Adoma was stronger, and now Grealish has been caught late again. It was Johansson this time. Steve Bruce outside the technical area, calling I think for the yellow card, very close to Anthony Taylor, and again it's only a free kick.
Well, he's an experienced referee, and as Sag said before the game, they're not going to get drawn into just giving yellow cards for the sake of it. I think definitely James Chester's with the yellow card, coming in from the back and taking Mitrovic out. There's hardly anything in that. Jack Grealish has gone down very easily, and Anthony Taylor not seeing any of that.
19 minutes played, 0-0 on Talk Sport, the home of the EFL. Snodgrass in the sunshine on the far side, has support from Adoma, but comes in field, and eventually it's a poor ball from him, cut out quickly by Ream. Horahan had gone down on the edge of the penalty area, and in the space he vacated, Sessegnon is now charging forward for Fulham, but Jedinak doing his defensive duties, just steps across with a block challenge, and it spins out of play for a throw into Fulham.
Well, again, I mean, the 18-year-old Sessegnon doing his defensive work, coming back, tracking back, doing the right thing, following his man. Snodgrass tried to take a little 1-2, he followed his man, and then as soon as they spring, he's got that pace to get his team up the pitch.
Kenny with the bright red boots spins and plays it wide towards Odoi down the right, infield towards Kamara, who's been quiet so far on the edge of the penalty area, further wide towards Fredericks, and Fulham continue with their small, precise triangles of passing before it's longer towards Mitrovic, who lays it back towards Kamara, but Villa again win it back, but very quickly Fulham have it back again with Fredericks down the right hand side, infield towards Kamara. Now Kenny, everything to his left, including target. Sessegnon is the short option, but it's beyond him towards Mitrovic, who looks to spin on the edge of the area. Sessegnon has gone down, but now Kamara turns, volleys towards goal, and it's onto the roof of the netting, and it's the first real shot in anger. Kamara believes it should be a corner, but he was given the room to turn, no real power in the shot, but it almost looped over Johnston.
But everything that's good that happens with Fulham, it goes into Mitrovic's feet. Does really well again, just waits and waits, and gives the time for the Aston Villa players to be drawn out, and Kamara finally makes a movement out away from this right hand side, comes into the middle, little swivel and volley in one movement, didn't really have the pace on it, and they're asking for a corner.
Maybe flicked the shoulder of Terry on the way through, but it was difficult to tell. There's Bettinelli from the ground, clears downfield onto the chest of Mitrovic, headed back towards Johansson, and now Johansson with the early ball forward. Kamara just for a second was on his way through, but the ball struck his heel, and Villa are able to regain their shape, and now they look to move forward, but Grabban has been penalised for just spinning and pulling back on Ream, and it will be a free kick to Fulham.
Well, that's the sort of football we saw in the second half against Derby in the semi-final of the playoffs. Just quick one-touch play between Mitrovic, Kamara. He was so close to being in Kamara, and Kamara was brilliant against Derby, he really was, and he stood against Hutton for the start of this game. He needs to start moving off the lines.
Now Odoi coming forward, Fredericks is in behind Adoma, down the right, cuts it back towards the edge of the area. Mitrovic was almost in, but it's an important challenge from Chester to clear, but Fulham have it back once again with Kenny. Wide to his left, and McDonald, target offering the width to his left, but instead he comes back in field. Now Odoi for Fulham. A slight opening for Fulham, but it's very quickly closed down by Villa. Kenny once again. Johansson with the ball forward. It's gathered by Sessegnon, who comes in field, and now Sessegnon with an excellent ball into the area. Kenny's in! Kenny scores! Wonderful goal for Fulham, made by Sessegnon and finished by Tom Kenny. Precise all along the ground, and Aston Villa could not live with them, and Fulham get the first sight of the Premier League. Fulham 1, Aston Villa 0.
And that was a Fulham goal down to a T. Absolutely fantastic football. And guess who was involved? The 18-year-old Sessegnon. It got absolutely rifled into him from McDonald. Absolutely rifled. He takes a touch, swivels on the ball, and then he just picks a lovely pass in behind Hutton. Kearney, the midfield player, making that third man run. And then when he gets in, isn't he calm? Kearney with that left foot, he just opens his body out, slides it under Johnson. What a fantastic bit of football from Fulham for that first goal.
And let's hear from the man who made Tom Kearney at Hull, Phil Brown.
That's a great compliment, Noah. What a fantastic goal. Tom was renowned for scoring goals from midfield, and what he's done is he's run off the back of Jack Grealish, but he's got behind Hutton. I think it's poor defensively, and everyone was telling me Alan Hutton's having a great season. That's poor defensively. He should have tracked his run and stayed with the man, but a great finish from a level-headed kid, shall we call him? Great finish.
Tom Kearney with his 6th goal of the season. He scored in the playoff semi-final against Reading in defeat 12 months ago, but he's opened the scoring here. And now, what was looking a difficult game for Aston Villa becomes even more trickier as Kamara comes forward again. Mitrovic ahead of him. Kamara tricked his way beyond Jedinak and Horahan. Sessegnon in space to the left-hand side. Kamara comes back in field. A right-footed shot is high and wide. And how do Aston Villa solve the problem they've been given, Dean?
Well, it's very difficult. I think they showed a glimpse of it when they got up the pitch a little bit more, squeezed the space for the Fulham midfielders to play in, and again they've just dropped back again, and that's where that goal came from. They were very, very deep on the edge of their penalty area, very flat-footed, and no one went and pressed Sessegnon when he took that ball. Jedinak not probably doing his job enough at the moment, just trying to screen in front of the back four. I think they've got to get up the pitch. They can't be too scared of the pace. Mitrovic isn't going to run in behind you. Yes, Kamara and Sessegnon might try to, but got to squeeze up a bit more, Aston Villa.
Well, in the regular season, Aston Villa won only 2 of the 17 games in which they conceded first. They were not a side who recovered very well from setbacks, and they've received an early one here, delivered by the Fulham captain Tom Kearney. But here at the other end is an opportunity for Grealish. He finds Adoma, but he made his run too soon, and it's a free kick to Fulham, and the Fulham fans still delighted, all on their feet around us.
Yeah, and rightly so. Their team have been magnificent, I think, in this early part of the game. They've been calm, composed, certainly played Jukanovic's way, and that's what Jukanovic talked about pre-match, was about the self-belief that the players have got in the way that they play. And the goal epitomised it. It was brilliant ball from Sessegnon, a great run from Kearney, poor defending, yes, but then the finish was just so cool and calm.
And Ryan Sessegnon showing there is so much more to his game than a bit of pace and the odd finish.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the touch he takes, honestly, it was absolutely rifled in it, sort of knee to waist height. Just takes a lovely touch, swivels onto the back four of Aston Villa, and then he's got the calmness just to roll that in. Kenny doesn't even have to break stride. It's there. It's perfectly paced for him to finish.
25 and a half minutes gone at Wembley. Aston Villa 0, Fulham 1 in the Championship playoff final. Only here on Talk Sport, with the Champions League final to come at 7:45 with Jim Proudfoot and Alvin Martin. We are the only place to hear both games live on such a big weekend of sport across the Talk Sport network. Tomorrow from 2 o'clock here on Talk Sport, Ian Danter in the chair for Rotherham against Shrewsbury as Adoy heads it back towards Bettinelli as a long ball was played forward in the general direction of Lewis Grabban. Then on Monday, over on Talk Sport 2 from 2 o'clock, it is the League 2 playoff final between Exeter and Coventry. And Coventry expected to bring in excess of 30,000 fans for that game. Now Mitrovic wide towards the right hand side, and Fredericks, who has seen plenty of the ball at the moment. Johansson finds the goal scorer Kearney. Kamara holding his run on this near side. Hutton makes the challenge, and it will be a throw into Fulham. And Alan Hutton, a man playing out of position, right-footed on the left-hand side, and maybe that was part of a roll in the goal.
He'll know that he's made a mistake. He knows that he was flat-footed and didn't see the run of Kearney. He'll be asking his midfielders where the tracked runner was. He didn't get it, and if you leave that sort of space, you will be punished. I really like the way Fulham midfield players play. All three of them take it in turns to come really deep and get involved with the two centre-backs. Really, really difficult to pick up if you're an Aston Villa midfielder.
Nearly 28 minutes played. Fulham leading, but at the moment not sitting on their lead here. And you get the feeling if they could score again before half-time, that might be it. Kearney back towards Adoy again, and Adoy will look at the option of going back to his goalkeeper, but instead goes forward to find Johansson. He finds Ream, and it's back towards McDonald, who drops in almost as a third central defender when Fulham do defend. Adoy now fighting Fredericks, and the challenge comes in from Adoma, but he's doing much of his best work defensively at the moment.
He is, and he got caught as well, like Hutton earlier on, with Fredericks running behind. I'm sure that's not his natural way of playing, Adoma. He wants to be going the other way, but they're all having to work hard at the moment, the Aston Villa players. They really are. Grealish now acting up again. I don't think there's a lot going on with Jack Grealish. I think he's got to concentrate more on getting on the ball and being involved in the play.
And Jack Grealish was talked up a good deal by his manager before this game, but he's not really seen enough of the ball so far to really make any sort of impact, and he went down under the challenge of Fredericks, and it's that second challenge from Fredericks. He landed on the ankle of Grealish, and the question is, was that deliberate?
No, he's just trying to jump over the top, but that, yeah, it will be a painful one, raked down the inside of the knee and the shin.
But it was right in front of the two technical areas, and Steve Bruce very unhappy. Kevin Friend was quick to step in between the two managers, and Slaviša Kanovic does not look like the sort of character to mess with. Nearly half an hour play, the game back underway. Grealish again stumbles as he's challenged by McDonald, and he's got the free kick once again, midway inside the Fulham half, wide on this near side, the Villa left, and they need to get something going here pretty quickly.
Well, it could always start with a set play, can't it? You get the delivery right and the movement right, you should be back on level terms, but we're certainly saying every opportunity, get it into Grealish's feet. He's got the beating of all the midfielders with quick feet, and that's going to gain you the free kicks that you might need to get yourself back in the game.
Well, 28% of the goals Fulham conceded in the Championship this season came from headers, and we saw Derby County score from a situation like this in the semi-final. The delivery from Snodgrass is met by the head of Adoy, and it's hooked clear by Sessegnon, out of play on the far side, and from Fulham's point of view, that test was passed for now.
Well, again, I mean, we questioned against Derby the height that Fulham have got. Adoy, Ream, both quite small in terms of centre-halves, but Adoy getting his head on the ball and obviously scored the winning goal.
Now the long ball is played forward for Aston Villa, and time seemed to stand still there as Snodgrass charged through, but he was flagged offside, and it will be a free kick to Fulham. 31 minutes played. Fulham lead here by a 0-0, and TalkSport has teamed up with Sky Sports to tell you all about the dedicated Sky Sports football channel with football from around the globe, including the EFL, SPFL, La Liga and more. Feel it all with Sky Sports. Fredericks coming in field and charging forward now for Fulham. Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area, back towards Johansson, and here is Kamara, who clips a high ball in, headed away by Terry. Sessegnon with a header at the far post into the arms of Johnston, and maybe the 18-year-old should have done better.
Well, it came too quickly, didn't he? He didn't expect John Terry just to flick that ball onto the back post. It landed right at his head, but I think the flick had taken the pace off it. He's gone to head the ball, no pace on it whatsoever, couldn't guide it past Johnston.
Now Adoma swings a ball in from the left-hand side, volleyed clear at the near post by Adoy. Mitrovic now tangling with Jedinek. Two players will be at the World Cup this summer, of course, every single game across the TalkSport network. Now El Mohammadi infield towards Chester. It's a good ball to find Graben, who has been starved of service so far. Now Horahan comes in field and finds Grealish with the socks rolled down to his ankles. Grealish away from the challenge of Johansson, finding Horahan. slid wide towards the right-hand side, and Snodgrass, who comes back in field and then goes back towards Horahan again. And Villa, for the first time in the game, really enjoying sustained possession inside the Fulham half with 32 minutes played. Now Grealish, in a patch of sunshine on the far side, looking to tease Target. His low ball into the near post. Ream allowed the ball to bounce and then hooks the ball away, with Grabin looking to charge in. Fulham clear, but Villa have it back, and their crowd to the right look to get behind their team. It's been a pretty grim watch if you're wearing claret and blue so far. Jedinak goes back towards Chester, and here is the Villa captain, John Terry. All that talk of him not playing Chelsea if Villa go up next season may prove to be premature, as Terry goes all the way back towards Sam Johnston, wearing all turquoise, defending the Villa goal away to our right-hand side. Now it's played long downfield, flicked on by Snodgrass. Grabin will chase again, but the blonde-haired Ream finds his goalkeeper Bettinelli.
But that was better from Aston Villa, wasn't it? Pushed up the pitch a bit higher. Intensity was a bit better. Actually, they're forgetting that they're not bad players. They can keep the ball if they want to. I think they've almost given Fulham a bit too much respect.
Now Adoy with another excellent ball forward, and Camara looked to be in behind Hutton, and the assistant referee on this near side has flagged for the free kick. Anthony Taylor, I don't think, was going to give it as the ball bulleted out of play. Camara is still down, and has the assistant referee given a free kick or the throw? And I think he's given the free kick.
I think he has, and he really did take his time on the decision. And I think, although it's more a tangle of legs than a real challenge from Hutton, who's trying to get the ball, but Camara's just too quick for him. He does get ahead of him. There is contact, and it is a free kick.
And the Norwegian Johansson is over it. Anthony Taylor gets the vanishing spray out. Two in the Villa wall, Grealish and Adoma. Much of their height is grouped around the far post to try and cope with the likes of Camara, Ream and Adoy, who of course leapt so high to score the winning goal for Fulham in the semi-final. Johansson's free kick in towards the near post. It was met eventually unchallenged by Horahan. Returned by the head of Johansson again. Snodgrass is back there to win the header. Adoma will volley it clear, but it's a clear and straight towards Kearney. Midway inside the Villa half. Back towards Target with another ball floated over the top. Camara will get there and keep it in play down the right-hand side. Does well to jab it back towards Johansson. Now McDonald charging forward into the penalty area. It's cleared by Jedinak, slid back in by Camara. Target now 25 yards out onto his left foot, which was a real swinger in the end, high and wide into those Villa fans behind the goal.
Well, they can't cope. When Fulham move it really quickly, Aston Villa, they really have struggled to keep their shape. They've been able to get it, especially on this right-hand side against Alan Hutton. They've really focused on this side. Camara keeps getting the better of him.
And Phil Brown, if you're Steve Bruce heading towards half-time, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts would be quite simple. You've got to keep it at one. You've got to keep it at one. If they get a second goal, it's party over as far as I'm concerned, because of the way they keep the ball. But Villa have been disappointed, if truth be known. You know, they haven't had any sustained pressure. They've not strung two passes together. Nobody looks like they want the ball. Dean made a great point about the rotation of the Fulham players coming to get it off the two centre-halves. But for me, Jedinak is in front of two centre-halves, and it's 3 marking 1. Mitrovic is down there on his own. So 3 marking 1. He's got to release himself. Let the two centre-halves pick Mitrovic up and go and release himself and become that midfield player, and not a sitting midfield player in front of his two centre-halves. Fulham are running the show too easily, and you know, as far as I'm concerned, if Steve gets a second goal against them, they're in big trouble. He needs to keep it at 1-0. That's still a foothold in the game, and now they've got to step up to the plate with when they've got the ball.
Thank you, Phil. Fulham with both of the attempts on target so far. The goal from Kearney and the header from Sessegnon, gathered by Sam Johnston, of course. Kearney's goal, Fulham's first ever at Wembley. They were beaten 2-0 by West Ham back in the FA Cup final in 1975. Of course, they had a side with the likes of Bobby Moore and Alan Mullery in it towards the end of their careers, but it's hungry youngsters who have really taken the eye for Fulham so far, leading here by a 1-0 with nearly 37 minutes played on Talk Sport, the home of the EFL. The Champions League final coming up at 7:45. Extra time and penalties permitting here, as Camara this time fouls Hutton, and it will be a Villa free kick, and it's taken quickly And there's a rather frenetic air about Villa when they do get on the ball at the moment, looking to make things happen and maybe force the issue. Chester finding John Terry. His experience will really come to bear maybe in the dressing room at half-time. It's a long diagonal ball from him, aimed for Snodgrass, but about 25 yards away from him, straight out of play for a throw into Fulham by the corner flag on the far side there left.
Phil's right. There's a great example of what Phil's just said. John Terry gets his head up, he's looking for that diagonal for Snodgrass. Snodgrass basically hides behind the foot. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to run in behind. Well, do you know what? We might need you to just for 5 minutes. Let's push up.
Now it's given away, and Grealish has been fouled by Odoi, and Anthony Taylor's patience has finally been exhausted. The latest challenge on Jack Grealish leads to the first Fulham yellow card, and it's Dennis Odoi.
He really is so good at that, Jack Grealish. He just draws you in, and then just with the little shimmy of the body, just takes it away from Odoi. And he finally gets what he wants, Jack Grealish, which is a Fulham yellow card, and rightly so.
Dennis Odoi's 6th yellow card of the season. And it's a free kick for Aston Villa, and the way this game has been going, a set piece may be their way back into the match. Chester and Terry are both forward for this free kick. It's about 35 yards from goal. It's right of centre, and Snodgrass, who could hit this left-footed, is over it. Horahan is also lurking with intent on the edge of the penalty area, and Fulham here from their point of view need to stand firm, and it's clipped in towards Grealish. It's a clever free kick, and Grealish fizzes the volley over the angle from the right hand side. It was played in towards Grealish, and just for a second Fulham were caught out, but the youngster unable to hit the target.
Oh, that would have been absolutely magnificent if that had come off. Snodgrass just goes to do one of his textbook free kicks and then dinks it over the wall. Jack Grealish makes that run in behind the wall. He's just waiting, he's waiting for the ball to drop. He can't quite get over the top of it. It doesn't quite drop quick enough, and he just then slices it over the bar. Really clever from Aston Villa, that was.
Now Camara quickly finds Carey charging forward. Fredericks could be in down the right hand side. Fredericks has to just check back, and in doing so invited the challenge from Jedinak, and it spins behind for the first corner of the game. But Ryan Fredericks maybe thinks he should have made it 2-0.
And it won't shock you to know that it's come down that Alan Hutton side. He goes into midfield when he doesn't need to. John Terry makes the mistake of diving in flat-footed, leave the space behind himself as well. Fredericks got in. He just needs to take one touch out of his feet and shoot there, Fredericks. I don't know why he took his time. The goal was there open to take the shot.
Sessegnon will take the corner, and it's driven with some pace, way too much pace, beyond everybody. McDonald, though, will react and try and keep the ball in play, but it just spins out despite his efforts by the corner flag on the far side, and Villa will have the throw-in. 5 minutes to play in the first half on Talk Sport. Fulham leading by 1-0, and they are just over 45 minutes away from a return to the Premier League. They were relegated in 2014. Mitrovic now left of the penalty area, infield towards Camara, back towards Mitrovic again. The shot blocked by Terry, and that was really travelling towards the Villa goal.
Again, it's fantastic. It's fantastic play. Mitrovic gets the ball. This time James Chester isn't there because he doesn't want to go and engage, so he turns. Lovely little 1-2 with Camara. Again, it had come off the line into that centre part of the pitch. Mitrovic got it out of his feet, and you're right, it was a fantastic block, I think it was, from Terry.
But Aston Villa just hanging on a bit at the moment here as we head towards half-time. Still alive in this game, but only just. Here is Graben, who I don't think has had a touch anywhere near the Fulham penalty area. He scored on the opening night of the Football League season for Sunderland, looking to be both relegated and promoted in the same year. Now Adoma, strong enough to evade the initial challenge from Fredericks, but it's Sessegnon back in the right back position, who clears the ball downfield, looking for Mitrovic. Terry and Jedinak almost collide, going for the same ball, but tidying up behind them was Chester, who steps in before Mitrovic to play a 1-2 with Johnston. But Aston Villa look really edgy, don't they?
They do. I mean, we talked about all this experience that they've got. They've really struggled in this first half. No one's had the bravery to get themselves on the ball.
Chester again was almost in. Chester and Johnston Real confusion on the edge of the penalty area. Mitrovic was between the two. Chester didn't know he was there until the last possible moment.
Well, I didn't think it was quite as scary as that, Nige, but I certainly think they're not playing to their strengths, Aston Villa, and that's the issue at the moment. They're not playing to their strengths. They're trying to stop Fulham rather than thinking, well, actually, what can we do to hurt Fulham? Can we get the ball wide quicker? Can we get Grealish on the ball in more dangerous areas? And at the moment, the answer to that is no.
Well, here is Mitrovic again. He's winning everything in the air. And now on the ground, he manages to snake out a leg and knock it back towards Odoi. And it's Fredericks charging forward now, down the right-hand side. He's got Sessegnon on his outside. He'll have to come infield onto his left foot. Sessegnon does so. He's found Kearney on the edge of the penalty area. Wide towards Fredericks again. The ball clipped in. Sessegnon with a looping, glancing header just over the top. But again, it's lovely stuff from Fulham.
And they did this against Derby. They switched sides, Camara and Sessegnon, towards the end of the first half against Derby. Didn't work that night, but again Sessegnon getting on the ball, and they do it better. When against Derby, what they did better is when they did get it wide, you've got Mitrovic, who loves to attack crosses, and they got the ball in quickly, had a couple of good chances.
But now Terry doesn't pick up a ball out from Johnston, but he's helped out by Hutton, and it just really gives you an indication of the unease right throughout this Aston Villa team, as Sessegnon almost wins it back from Hutton again. It's back to Terry. Terry helps it forward towards Adoma, and Grealish has been caught again by McDonald. The quick free kick taken by Adoma, and now Graben coming forward, but shows far too much of that to Ream. And Fulham very quickly will look to break themselves with Johansson on towards Kearney. Kearney, was he fouled by Jedinak? Yes, he was. And Fulham have a free kick, and they are enjoying the lion's share of possession in this game as we head towards the final minute of the first half, leading by 1-0 on TalkSport.
I do have to say that Jack Grealish has been head and shoulders Aston Villa's best player, barely giving the ball away, looks so comfortable. He's the one that's trying to express himself when he gets the ball. I think there has to be questions asked to a lot of the other players, Snodgrass, Hourihane, Adoma, Graben. We literally haven't seen anything from their attacking players.
Ream on the far side, infield towards Mitrovic, laid into the path of Johansson. He's got support on his outside from Camara, but Johansson is challenged by Jedinak and Snodgrass, and it's Jedinak who comes away with the ball. And here is Grealish now, loping over halfway. He's got support from Snodgrass, but he left it to Snodgrass, who wasn't expecting it, and in the end it's gathered by Kearney, who's got time to pirouette twice before assessing his options, and he sees that there is a player down for Fulham midway inside the Villa half, so he knocks it out of play so they can receive some treatment, and it's Johansson, the player, who is down.
Big job, Phil, isn't it, at half-time for Steve Bruce?
The contrast between the two teams is frightening, to tell you the truth. You know, with 2 minutes to go, Steve, the best thing about it is it's only one. That's what Steve will be thinking, but he has to make a change. He has to make a change to the shape of that midfield. For me, Jedinak's wasting his time in front of two centre-halves. Mitrovic is coming off right shoulder, left shoulder, getting turned. He's taking him out the game with the way that Fulham are playing, and they're enjoying too much of the possession. I look at Aston Villa, if they're going to go second half and it's going to be 65-70% Fulham, they'll be chasing shadows for the next 45 minutes, and that's going to take one hell of an effort.
Also, I'm looking at Lewis Graben up there on his own against the two centre-backs. They're so comfortable on the ball, it's almost embarrassing. It just gets you down as a centre-forward when you're chasing across the two, and they're playing at the goalkeeper into midfield. They're doing triangles around. I just wonder, maybe Kodja coming on, go into a front trip. That straight away, that stops the two centre-halves getting the ball and playing out.
Dean, you hit the nail on the head. I wrote down Grealish, Snodgrass, Adoma and Graben just before you said it. You need more from them. You need more going forward, but defensively, Alan Hutton's having an absolute nightmare at left back. He's got to either switch him or put him back to normally right back, but he's tucking across too far. He doesn't need to. Then he's coming too tight this side when he doesn't need to. He's creating a gap between him and John Terry, which Fulham are exploiting.
Thanks, Phil. Well, Neil Taylor, the regular left-back, is unavailable for this game, and Hutton, I think, has filled in pretty much right across the back four throughout the season, and at the moment he's been rather exposed on this near side as Kearney comes away from a challenge with Jedinak, and it's a good ball, clipped wide to the left-hand side and target infield towards Camara, who allows it to run, but there was nobody behind him in a white shirt, and it's John Terry looking to bring the ball out now up towards the halfway line, get some boos from the Fulham supporters due to his Chelsea connections, but Fulham may have to do some defending here as we tick into the first added minute of 2 at the end of this first half. Grealish with a good ball wide towards the right-hand side, and El Mohammadi. Now Snodgrass has given the room to turn, but there was nobody inside the penalty area, anywhere near the penalty area, in a claret and blue shirt. So here is Adoma down the left, back towards Jedinak once again. Grealish, can he conjure up something almost on his own here? But he's knocked it wide towards the right-hand side, and El Mohammadi, it's further down the line looking for Horahan, and Fulham here, rather playing for half-time, are able to boom the ball high into their supporters, all wearing white on the far side. Tim Ream with the clearance, and it's a Villa throw-in.
Again, just another attack where there's no real ideas, there's no spark, there's no movement, there's not players shouting and screaming to get the ball into feet. It's all very, very easy at the moment for Fulham.
And the Villa supporters urging their team forward. Here is Terry, and Terry's ball wide comes to nothing as the half-time whistle goes, and it's the Fulham supporters who are jubilant at the moment. Such a contrast of emotions all around Wembley Stadium. Those in black and white delighted, those in claret and blue very, very glum. Tom Kearney with the only goal so far after 24 minutes, but in truth Fulham could and maybe should have had more at half-time. Fulham are 45 minutes away from a return to the Premier League. It's Aston Villa 0, Fulham 1. Thank you, Sags. Well, Steve Bruce said this was a job he's waited 20 years for. Well, he's just had a pretty big 15 minutes to try and sort Aston Villa out. And they will get the second half underway, playing towards their huge support to our right-hand side in their claret and blue. Fulham leading here by a 1-0 in their white shirts, black shorts and white socks, as Adoma gathers from the kick-off midway inside the Fulham half, back towards the Egyptian El Mohammadi. Now Jedinak clips it over the top. Adoma again has the opportunity to play the early ball into the area just over the head of Lewis Grabban. The clearance from Fredericks ricochets off the on-rushing Horahan. Is behind for a goal kick, but in many ways, Dean, that's an early sign of optimism for Aston Villa.
Well, and also Adoma's come all the way from that left-hand side, made a great run inside the right-hand side of target, and then he just puts. That's what they've been good at, Aston Villa. Like you said, Nige, scored a lot of goals from getting balls into the box. Good delivery in. Lewis Grabban was just slightly underneath it, and also he was on his own. He needs support. He needs maybe one or at least two to come up alongside him and occupy one of the centre-backs.
A reminder of the two sides again. Villa, Johnston in goal, El Mohammadi, Terry, Chester and Hutton, Snodgrass, Horahan, Jedinak and Adoma. Grealish behind Grabban, and there's a missed kick from Sam Johnston as he clears downfield. It's gathered by Abubakar Kamara on the far side, quickly infield towards Tom Kearney, whose goal divides the two sides, and back towards Dennis Adoyan halfway. Now Kearney is challenged by Grealish and robbed by Grealish, and Grealish can lead the counter-attack right down the centre. 3 claret and blue shirts in support, but he slips at the crucial moment, and the counter-attack could be countered itself here with Johansson up towards Mitrovic, infield towards Kearney. Sessegnon holds his run to stay onside to the left. Johansson brings it forward, infield again towards Kamara, edge of the penalty area. Now Mitrovic down the right, low in. Sessegnon was waiting, and it's Chester coming in with a goal-saving challenge.
And didn't he need to? Sessegnon getting inside of El Mohammadi, ready just to tap that in. Chester stretches that long right foot of his to flick it away. Jack Grealish had a fantastic chance to just play someone in, just play Adoma in, let him run onto it, and then they were suddenly on the back foot.
Throw in for Fulham on the far side, taken by Fredericks in towards Kearney. Now Fredericks again. Kamara shrugs off Hutton initially, but no room in which to manoeuvre on the far side, but he's done well to get himself out of that situation and find Johansson with a low shot, right-footed across the goalkeeper, and Johnston is able to gather. The Fulham team once again, Bettinelli in goal, Fredericks, Adoy, Ream and Target, Johansson, Kearney, McDonald, Kamara, Mitrovic and Sessegnon, as Villa look to build on this near side. Ream slides in to dispossess Grabban, and it will be a Villa throw-in.
Well, they don't need to take any risks too early, Aston Villa. The tempo's got to be much better, the quality's got to be better. Don't need to start throwing too many men forward and getting caught on the counter-attack by Fulham.
Grealish up towards the edge of the penalty area. He was looking for Horahan. The pass was initially blocked, but Villa now win it back. Hutton with a ball down the line on the left. Adoma with the opportunity to cross high into the penalty area. Snodgrass with the header, and he was off balance as he met it, and as a result it gently loops onto the roof of the netting behind for a goal kick.
Well, that's already much better, isn't it, from Aston Villa? When they do get it wide, get it in the box. They're not the tallest, Fulham. Snodgrass has got the beating of target at the back post, as Cameron Jerome did in that first leg.
3.5 minutes played in the second half. Aston Villa 0, Fulham 1 on Talk Sport. Don't forget the Champions League final coming up at the end of this game with Jim and Alvin. Liverpool against Real Madrid from Kiev. Danny Kelly will be in the chair. If this game finishes in normal time, we will join him at 7 o'clock, but if we go beyond that, then our coverage on Talk Sport could be delayed, but the build-up will start on Talk Sport 2. Now Snodgrass comes in field, beyond target, inside the centre circle, finding Jedinak, and there's a bit more impetus from Aston Villa in the opening moments of the second half. We'll be down to the touchline to get any views from the Moose in a second, as Terry is challenged by Johansson, and Johansson does well to win it back, and the ball eventually spins out of play off the Norwegian, and it will be a throw-in to Aston Villa, and it's thrown all the way back towards Johnston, who rather awkwardly has to volley clear up towards the halfway line. It's one in the air by McDonald, and then Kearney believes he was caught as Hutton leapt over him. No free kick given though by Anthony Taylor, and Hutton will try and bring it forward now on the far side, infield towards Adoma, but there were just too many white shirts there. McDonald wins it back, and Adoy will clip it forward, looking for Sessignon, who tries to lay it off into the path of Johansson, but Villa will clear again, and it's been more of a contest, a toe-to-toe sort of battle at the start of the second half. 5 minutes played, Fulham lead by a goal to nil, but Villa coming forward now. Hourihane lays it wide to the left, and Adoma, the early cross into the penalty area, and Grealish arrives before Bettinelli, but the header from 4 yards is over the top.
He should score. He's got to be braver, he's got to get more of a contact on it, because he's right in front of Bettinelli. Makes a great run. It's a wonderful whipped cross from Adoma from the left-hand side. He cuts back onto his right foot, whips it in. It's a great ball. It's going to go in at the back post if it's missed by Grealish, but he's got to be braver. He's just got to head that down into the empty net.
Well, Grealish for a second thought he may have to come off for some treatment there, but he's waved away the physio, and it will be a goal kick for Fulham. And we're seeing on the monitor a shot of Steve Bruce, who knows that should have gone in. Bettinelli has often shown himself to be suspect under the high ball at times this season, and Grealish almost caught him out, and it's the first time in the game we've really seen a dangerous ball whipped into the penalty area.
Well, they've tried a couple now in this second half. That's clearly something that Steve Bruce has talked about, getting players into the box from midfield. They're going again.
Villa coming forward again. Now it's a high ball in. Snodgrass was rising at the far post, but in fact he pushed into his man. It was Fredericks who was trying to mark him, and the free kick has been given, and it will be an opportunity for Fulham to maybe take a breath and clear their lines as we go down to the touchline and the Moose.
Yeah, cheers, Nigel. By the way, it's baking hot down here. There's barely a breath of air. So, as you've been saying throughout the game and beforehand, it might have to be a game where you bring on all 3 subs. And I understand that Fulham are quite happy the way things are at the moment. Villa are warming up a couple of substitutions. They were out a good 2 or 3 minutes early after the half-time dressing down from Steve Bruce.
Thanks, Ian. And we're seeing on our monitor as well a shot of Sir Doug Ellis, who is the president of Aston Villa, now well into his 90s. As far as football's concerned, seen it, done it, sacked it. Here is Adoma coming forward now on the far side down the left, and he's got support from Hourihane across the face of goal. Nobody got the touch. It whistled through that 6-yard area, but it's all Aston Villa at the moment.
And again, we haven't seen Hourihane in that first half. He's going to support Adoma, who's getting the better of Fredericks. Whip the ball across. Actually, I don't think it's a great cross. He does just kind of flash it across. He doesn't pick anybody out, and it's almost too high and too hard for anyone to get on the end of.
But Phil Brown, different game at the start of the second half.
100%, it's totally different. What Steve said at half-time, I don't know, but they've certainly come out a different team. They're a footballing side, which we always knew they were, but they're competing higher up the field of play. And now all of a sudden Fulham are in one hell of a game now. I think Villa, if they keep going like this, they're looking more likely to get an equaliser than the other one going 2-0.
53 minutes played. Fulham do lead by 1-0, but here is Grealish out on the left-hand side now, looking to tease Adoy and deliver the cross into the penalty area. He eventually does, but it's beyond the far post. Grabban unable to gather, but here is El Mohammadi. Switch back towards the edge of the penalty area and Snodgrass. El Mohammadi once again, and Ream will have to be careful here as the Egyptian looks to go on the outside. He had Jedinak in support, but it's infield towards Snodgrass. A long diagonal from him. Adoy rising to head the ball clear with the help of Kamara, but now Hutton looks to head it back into the penalty area. Kamara's clearance was up rather than away, right across his own penalty area, but Fulham eventually smuggled the ball away. But you can hear the Villa crowd at the moment firmly behind their team after one or two doubters at half-time. Adoma coming infield from the left-hand side, challenged though by Kearney, and it's Kearney who wins the ball and can bring it away for Fulham, and it's an excellent pass to pick out Sessegnon inside the centre circle, and he looked to find Kamara. He may have been offside anyway, but the pass was overhit, and it's gathered by Johnston.
Well, that's the threat, isn't it? If they do lose the ball, lovely play from Kearney to Sessegnon again, but here comes Villa.
Now Grealish stepping into the challenge of Kearney and then fouling Kamara, and it will be a free kick for Fulham. And we played 10 minutes in the second half. Villa have enjoyed 2/3 of the possession so far since half-time, but they still trail by 1-0, but they have created a couple of opportunities, notably the header from Grealish, which whizzed over the top, and really it should have gone in. And Slavica Kanovic just prowling around his technical area, looking for his second promotion to the Premier League in 3 years, after taking Watford up, but he was never allowed to manage them at the higher level. Now Target, infield looking for Johansson. It spins away from Jedinak into the path of Sessegnon. And now Target again with a good ball to find Mitrovic, midway inside the Villa half. Everything to the left of Kearney, including Target. Target with a low ball driven in, controlled by Sessegnon at the near post. Back towards Target again, the white shirts now queuing up. Mitrovic with the header, it's wide. And once again, rather like Grealish, he should have done much better.
That's where he's a real threat. Mitrovic just goes to pull off John Terry and then makes a little dart in between Terry and Chester. It's a great ball from Matt Target. Not quite enough pace on it. He'll be disappointed he doesn't get this at least on target, because he's got in front of John Terry.
55 minutes played. Aston Villa 0, Fulham 1 on the home of the EFL Talk Sport. The Champions League final coming up at the end of this game. The only radio station to bring you both massive occasions on this Champions Saturday on Talk Sport. Liverpool against Real Madrid coming up with Jim and Alvin at the conclusion of this one. And there will also be a full-time phone-in with Dan Windle over on Talk Sport 2 to analyse what has happened here at Wembley today. El Mohammadi finding Jedinak, and Horahan works it wide towards the left-hand side. There's an opportunity for Adoma to try and link up with Hutton, but Adoma holds on to it back towards Conor Horahan again, who seems to be playing in a much more advanced area for Aston Villa in the second half, and as a result he's not giving Tom Kearney so much licence to bring the ball forward for Fulham. Now Grabban finds Terry. It's the early ball forward from him again, looking for Adoma. There was some spin on that, and Adoma will be able to keep the ball in play by the corner flag on the far side, but the clearance is eventually made by Fredericks, and here is Kearney straight to Grealish on the edge of the penalty area. Grealish now has found Grabban. Can Grabban shoot? He can't. It's blocked by Adoy, and eventually the ball spins behind off Grabban, and it will be a goal kick. And there was just a lack of conviction there from Lewis Grabban when he had a rare sight of goal.
Well, he did the right thing this time, Grealish. He just played it first time into Grabban's feet. He stood Adoy up 1v1 and he didn't do anything. He didn't shift it, he didn't try a little step over, he's just literally tried to almost play it through his legs, and it was an easy block in the end. And that was a good chance for Grabban to, I thought, just try and shift it, try and do something to put the defender off balance. But I tell you what, we're all fantastic players. If we've all got time on the ball like Fulham did in that first half, we're all great players, we're all look great. Whereas if you get in people's face, that's when you're going to see who are the better players, who can handle it. And at the moment, the Fulham players suddenly, as soon as they get the ball, bang, there's an Aston Villa player there, and they're struggling.
Well, Scott Hogan is warming up for Aston Villa, a player who has never really got started at Villa Park following his £9 million move from Brentford, although he did have a glut of goals over Christmas, as Target brings it forward now for Fulham. finding Sessegnon down the left. Sessegnon tiptoes his way towards the edge of the penalty area, plays the 1-2 at target, then it's a stub ball in field which almost finds Mitrovic. Here is McDonald, who tries to go for the audacious volley from the edge of the penalty area, and it's some way over the top.
Lovely little play there, wasn't it? Interplay between Target and Sessegnon, and then Sessegnon sees this little pass just to dink it over Chester into Mitrovic's feet, or he could take the volley on, or he could take a touch. Chester does really well just to get the flick, and then McDonald shows why he hasn't scored many goals this season.
Well, the last team to fail to win the Championship playoff final after scoring the opening goal was Cardiff City against Blackpool back in 2010. So Fulham at the moment have history on their side, but they're facing a Villa team who are offering so much more in the second half. 59 minutes played, Aston Villa 0, Fulham 1 in the final match of the Championship season. One of these sides will be playing in the Premier League next season, and whatever happens, there is a period of uncertainty coming up for the losers. Players will leave and managers will come under even more pressure as Fredericks comes forward now for Fulham. Seemed to get goal side of Adoma. There was a tangle of arms and legs. Both players went to ground. Anthony Taylor says no free kick to either side. Now Horahan down the line on the left, looking for grab, but it's a good ball in field. Grealish can charge forward now. Three white shirts combine on him, but Grealish has gone beyond all of them, and it's still Grealish, and it's blocked by the legs of Bettinelli, and that would have been a Wembley goal for the ages from Jack Grealish. Slalomed his way through the Fulham defence like an Olympic skier, but denied by the legs of Bettinelli.
That would have been absolutely ridiculous if he'd have scored that. Honestly, the quick feet, the body swerves, he just did 4 or 5 Fulham players, all ends up, just had to put the finish on at the end. Bettinelli did well, he stood big, didn't quite get the strike on it, Grealish, but honestly, you're right, that would have been a goal that we'd have remembered for years and years.
Now Terry coming forward, Villa in the ascendancy at the moment, and over an hour played, but they still trail by a goal to nil. Adoma looks to step beyond the challenge of Kamara, who was doing much of his best work in the second half defensively. He concedes a throw and it's taken quickly. Grealish, running the game for Aston Villa, has picked a pass to release Chester on this near side, the right. Chester infield towards Horahan, slid neatly into the path of El Mohammadi, but the Egyptian choosing to check back inside once again. And the lack of authentic width for Aston Villa has really caused them a problem throughout the game. But here is Adoma now. It's a high, deep ball into the penalty area. Bettinelli was tracking back towards his own goal. Doesn't gather. El Mohammadi plays it back in, nodded away by Ream, and then volleyed towards goal by Grealish. Appeals for handball as it's blocked, he believes, by a Fulham hand. Nothing given by Anthony Taylor, who was well placed. And Villa will have to try and build again with Snodgrass. And it's a good ball from him, wide to the left-hand side, and the right-footed Alan Hutton. He goes on the outside, checks back once again, slid in low, looking for Graben, and cleared away by Adoy. Nodded back into the penalty area by Jedinak once again. The Villa pressure increasing here. Can Fulham stand firm? El Mohammadi, an excellent ball over the top down the right. Jedinak looks to clip the ball beyond Johansson, run into the penalty area. It looked like a tired clearance from Johansson, straight towards Snodgrass. Now El Mohammadi down the right. The early cross high to the far post. Adoma was the target. Excellent header away though by Fredericks. But now Hutton has it for Villa. Out on their left-hand side, you can hear the Villa fans urging their team on here. This could be a key moment in the final. Adoma on the left corner of the penalty area. Grealish slips, but then wins it back on the edge of the penalty area. Right foot shot from him is blocked once again, and Kearney will try and bring it clear. Kearney was caught, and now players from both sides converge on the far side, and Anthony Taylor has a problem to solve here. Horahan and Grealish were the Villa players involved, and the Fulham players very unhappy with Grealish's role in that challenge.
Well, you can see, I mean, Kearney's gone down writhing on the floor. They're not happy. It's a yellow card. Anthony Taylor got that out very, very quickly just to try and calm things down. We'll have to have another replay just on our monitor, and it is a bad challenge. His feet aren't that high. He's not got his studs showing too high. He's sliding along the floor. For me, it looks a lot worse than it is. I don't feel that he's high enough or late enough to warrant a red card.
Well, Grealish in on Kearney. And Mitrovic was the player who was quick to show his displeasure. He's a player, of course, we know has a fairly short fuse. Grealish has been booked, and now there was just a chat between John Terry and Tom Kearney, the two captains, maybe just having a quick word. We're seeing a replay of the handball incident, the alleged handball. Grealish with the volley, and it reared up off the turf and hit Camara maybe on the elbow, or Odoi rather on the elbow.
Yeah, it did. Anthony Taylor had a fantastic view of it. And I think it has. It's kind of rebounded off his thigh and then hit his arm. You can't give a penalty for that. But again, we're having another look at the mazy run of Jack Grealish, who just takes everyone out of the game. It's actually a fantastic sort of glancing block from McDonald that actually then puts it onto the goalkeeper Bettinelli. Otherwise, that would have been in. But Aston Villa, the contrast is absolutely ridiculous.
But they still trail. 64 minutes played. Villa have had 6 shots in the second half to Fulham's 3. They only managed 2 in the whole of the first half, which tells you how the game has gone. But Fulham maybe just looking to take the sting out of the game at the moment. Neither manager has gone to their bench yet. Now Mitrovic looking to turn Chester, who received a very early yellow card, and Mitrovic has done well to link up with Kenny. Back towards Mitrovic again on the edge of the area. He was just trying to help on one more pass towards Johansson, but Villa are able to clear, but it's one back as Adoma is beaten to it by Fredericks. Now Camara on the right corner of the penalty area. Has support from Kearney, and it's wide now towards Fredericks. Fredericks will swoop in field beyond Hutton, and it's square towards McDonald. The shot deflected, and it's gone behind for a Fulham corner.
Again, great play from Fulham. Fredericks got the beat of Adoma, dribbles inside, lays a lovely ball off to McDonald. It's not actually a great strike, and I'm not sure it's going to go on target, but James Chester didn't know that. Flung himself in front of it, Terry-esque almost.
Matt Targett will take the corner, and it's rare for the Fulham fans to see their team in the Villa half so far in the second half. Johansson is the option short, but Targett will whip this ball in left-footed, an outswinger. Not too much height inside the near post, but it's in, and the header is wide, and Villa's marking there was all over the place. Mitrovic and McDonald came in and they almost got in each other's way.
They did, but McDonald's asking the referee why he hasn't got a penalty, because he's got someone on him. I think it's Hutton who's got his arms all over McDonald. Just tries to pull him back. He's pulling his arm as well, and Alan Hutton. The referee clearly doesn't see that.
And Mitrovic and Jedinak were having a wrestling bout.
What's new, eh?
And I think Anthony Taylor was just happy to clear the penalty area and get on with things. Now Adoma infield towards Horahan for Villa. We're approaching the midpoint of the second half. Villa trail, but they've been the dominant side now. Snodgrass heads it back into the area. It's down towards Lewis grabbing. Can he turn? No, he can't. Grealish with a shot which was deflected, and the deflection really helped Fulham out as it bobbled gently into the arms of Bettinelli.
They worked that really well, actually. Went diagonally across to Snodgrass, who just nodded it down to Grabban. Grabban's got to get his head up quicker. When he knows he can't turn himself and take the shot, he's got to get his head up quicker, play that quicker to Jack Grealish so he can either take a touch or hit it first time. He ends up too close to him and tries to dig it out, Grealish.
Now Kearney wide towards Targett on this near side, and it's back towards Ream again. Ream just has to take the long way round beyond Snodgrass, back towards Targett, but his clip ball down the line goes straight out of play. Phil Brown, how long do Fulham have to weather the storm here?
The whole of the second half, by the looks of it. I think Villa are just a different team, and they're putting more energy into that play going forward. They're putting more energy into the press. The better players are coming to the party now. We've been looking at the 3 in midfield, and they're playing higher up the field.
Here is Sessegnon though, a break for Fulham, and the shot is over the top from Johansson. That was an opportunity to seal it. A Villa error gave Sessegnon so much room inside the Villa half, and he found Johansson. He was quickly closed down as he bore down on goal, and as a result the shot over the top.
I was just talking about the 3 midfield players. The three midfield players for Aston Villa all now playing higher up the field. Even Jedinak's playing off the toes of the 2 centre halves. But the moment is now coming in games like this, 1-0, where both sides are still in the game, big style. The big moments are coming now where substitutes are going to be made, because they have to. They have to, quite simply. People are tiring out there. There's 65 minutes on the clock. And it's the changes, the tactical changes. Yeah, you'll be a genius or you'll be a failure, whichever the case may be.
Here is Adoma, almost losing his footing as he tried to evade Kenny. Kenny's won it back. And now Abubakar Kamara striding over the halfway line for Fulham. He may go all the way himself. He's beyond John Terry. It's still Kamara. He goes down. As he checked back, he then goes down a second time. First from Hutton, then from Jedinak. On both occasions, Anthony Taylor waves away the penalty appeals.
Well, he could have a red card for 2 dives here, Kamara.
Well, he saw him dive in the semi-final, didn't
He certainly did. He dives for the first one. He checks back on Alan Hutton. Alan Hutton slides in. He's nowhere near him. Kamara goes to ground. And then Jedinak slides in, wins the ball, and collides into Kamara, who then does a nice little dive over the top of him as well. I mean, it's a ridiculous dive. Both of them are ridiculous. He should be embarrassed.
Well, it's a throw-in for Fulham, aimed towards Mitrovic, but Terry wins that aerial duel. But here is Johansson coming forward again. Sessegnon now, left-hand side of the penalty area, infield onto his right foot, square towards Kamara on the stretch to try and find Johansson. It's won back by Snodgrass, but here is Johansson again. Left-footed shot from him is blocked by a lunging Chester, and Villa will try and bring the ball clear with Snodgrass on this near side. There is movement on the Villa bench. We'll be down to the Moose shortly, but Villa looking to bring the ball forward now with Jedinak just inside the Fulham half. We have 20 minutes to play at Wembley. It's still 1-0 to Fulham, and there's a rash challenge right at the heart of the Villa defence, and it's a red card. Dennis Odoi with a second yellow card. Grealish, the player, fouled by Dennis Odoi, and Fulham will have to head towards the Premier League with only 10 men in the final 20 minutes. Dennis Odoi sent off. Will this be the turning point?
Well, it's exactly what they don't need, Fulham, isn't it? It really is. Your centre-back going into a challenge that he just does not need to. And Anthony Taylor, he's got no choice. Jack Grealish is too quick. Nicks it past him. Oh, it's a ridiculous challenge from Odoi. There's no need. Just sticks his leg high up into Grealish's chest.
Well, Dennis Odoi, the semi-final hero, has now been sent off. His second red card of the season, and he heads towards the tunnel, a disconsolate figure. And there are going to be 2 changes made by Fulham very shortly. Villa are also about to increase their attacking options. There's also a Fulham player down just outside the penalty area.
Yeah, Johansson's been down for a while, actually. I thought it was cramp initially, but you just don't know. In this sort of heat, you can tweak calves, hamstrings can go very easily. But this doesn't surprise me straight away to see Steve Bruce make the change, and Kodju looks like he's going to come on, but also Fulham look like they're going to have to obviously change personnel and system.
Well, the changes are coming. Here's the Moose on the touchline.
Yeah, well, no surprise that Thomas Callas is coming on loan from Chelsea, centre-half. He's going to be coming on because Odoi has been sent off. By the way, Odoi absolutely distraught as he went off. Also coming on for Fulham is going to be Oliver Norwood, and the first man he's replacing is the stricken Johansson, who's limping towards the near side. So Norwood for Johansson. Callas will come on as well. It might well be Kamara who makes way for him. We're just waiting for the board to go up. As for Villa, they're going to make 2 changes as well. Jonathan Kodja is one man coming on, and Josh Onoma is another. Again, not certain yet before they put the ball up who's going to be coming off for Villa, as Johansson now lips towards the near side. Fulham are just waiting now for their changes to take place, and as for Villa, Kodja and Onoma are coming on for them in a minute or 2.
Thanks, Moose. Phil Brown, your view on the red card?
He had to give it. You know, we were talking about how early the first yellow card was, and he had to be at 100% everything that he did, tackling, tracking back, whatever. But the thorn in Fulham's side has been the young lad Grealish. He nicks into things, he gets into little pockets of space, he goes past people for fun, and he's, if anybody, earned the right for Villa to go on to win this game, let alone draw the game. They could go on to win the game, but 10 against 11, who knows?
Snodgrass with the free kick, high to the far post. Mitrovic will have a very important defensive role now from set pieces. Rises to head away. Now El Mohammadi infield towards Snodgrass, back towards El Mohammadi, down the right again. Jedinak with the early ball, swung into the penalty area towards the near post, met by the head of target. Norwood with his first touch wins the aerial duel with Snodgrass, and Villa will have to do some defending here as Kearney steps away from both Jedinak and El Mohammadi, plays the early ball down the corner, and it's Kamara who will chase, and he will get there before Hutton. No white shirts in the same postal district as Abubakar Kamara at the moment, but he comes in field, and it's a good ball to pick out Kearney. Mitrovic ahead of him. Kearney rides one challenge. Fredericks belatedly moving forward to provide the width down the right hand side, almost at walking pace. Now on the corner of the penalty area, Fredericks will try and take on Adoma, and he's gone beyond him, skating towards the byline, pulled back, Mitrovic with the volley over the top, and it took a deflection. It's a corner, but the Fulham fans in agony around us, because had Mitrovic scored, even with 10 men, that would have surely been that.
That's a great chance. It really is a great chance. This is how he would have played it out, Mitrovic. He'd have wanted his fullback to get to the byline, cut it back. He's made that little dart. He's taken a great touch. I mean, James Chester's done very well, actually, to get his body in the way. I think it does come off his shoulder. Fantastic defending, actually. I was almost going to slate Mitrovic for not swivelling and putting that in the back of the net. Chester, brilliant again.
Well, Sessegnon gets a great hand from the Fulham crowd as he takes the corner. It's another very deep in-swing, and Mitrovic and Jedinak again. Well, whatever it is, they're not playing football inside the 6-yard area, as they're both grappling under the high ball. It's gathered by Johnston, and we now have a very different game as we head towards the final 15 minutes. Fulham lead by a goal to nil on TalkSport, the home of the EFL. We'll have team news shortly from the Champions League final in Kiev with Jim Proudfoot and Alvin Martin. Liverpool against Real Madrid. It comes up at the end of this game, but at the moment the game is not won for the 10 men of Fulham. Callas is still waiting to come on, as are Kodja and Onomar, the Villa replacements, deep in conversation with Stephen Clements, part of the backroom team for Steve Bruce, as a ball is snaked wide to the far side by Grealish. Adoma down the right, a low ball in towards the near post, and McDonald is there to hack the ball away. The clearance not conclusive, headed forward by Fredericks only as far as Grealish, and now Mitrovic has shoved Grealish over but won the ball back fairly. Mitrovic now goal side of Jedinak. Jedinak has hauled him down 15 yards inside the Villa half, and the Australian will have to be booked.
He won't care. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows Mitrovic is away from him. He actually, about 5 or 6 minutes ago when Camera went across, he actually tried to clip him down because he knew he couldn't chase him, and this would have looked fantastic at Twickenham. Fantastic rugby tackle from Jedinak.
Well, the changes are now taking place. Here is the Moose.
His camera is being sacrificed for Adoy, who was sent off, so Callas finally comes on. By the way, Callas, in the last 5 minutes, he's been up and down, putting on a vest, you know. I don't know what Jukanovic has been doing and waiting to make this change, but now he's going to make it. So Camera is the man who's being replaced by Callas. They're still waiting. By the way, he's not very happy with something that Snodgrass has said to him. Snodgrass wants him to get off quicker, and the yellow card's been brandished to Camera. Onomar and Kodja still waiting to come on. Again, I'm not sure what Villa's problem is here, why they haven't made the change a bit earlier. Steve Bruce and Stephen Clemens have been in conversation for a while. They're trying to work the board. Here we go, the first change, the first Villa man coming off is going to be El Mohammadi, so going to suggest they're going to be a bit more open and go for it a bit more. He's replaced by Kodja, and Onomar's going to come on as well, and probably Snodgrass or Jedinak. Jedinak's walking towards me now, so I suggest he probably knows his time is up. Yes, the Australian is being replaced by Onomar. Got there in the end.
Cheers, Moose. And how will this change the game, Dean?
I don't think it'll change much. It'll be interesting to see how Fulham set up. I think they'll probably go with Callas, will keep that back four intact. Probably then McDonald and Norwood will sit as two in front, and they'll probably allow Kearney and Sessegnon to kind of drift wherever is needed and just leave Mitrovic up on his own. But we're expecting a big push now from Aston Villa with their changes.
Just over 12 minutes to play at Wembley. Fulham leading by a goal to nil on TalkSport. All of the hard work throughout the season has to come to the surface now. Whatever happens in the next 12 minutes and maybe beyond that, a season will be deemed a success or a failure for either of these sides, as Kearney, working hard, the Fulham captain, He's done well to challenge Hourihane and win a throw-in on the far side for Fulham. Phil Brown, Villa have got to go for it now, haven't they?
Well, they've got nothing else to lose, have they? 15 minutes left in the season, let alone the game. You know, it's now or never. And they've gone really, really positive. Steve's made 2 changes. He's obviously got a winger playing fullback now, left fullback. Sutton's come across this side. He's gone with the 2 up top, I think. So they've really got to throw caution to the wind. They've got nothing else to lose.
Josh Onomah, who played at Wembley last season for Tottenham in the Champions League. He's been on loan from Spurs, but used fairly sparingly the longer the season has gone on. Only 20 starts. This his 14th appearance from the bench. Onomah coming forward now. He's got support from Graben. Graben has pulled McDonald out of the centre, back towards Onomah. It's a deep ball in. Snodgrass and Hutton wait. Hutton heads it infield. The shot from Kodja is blocked, and then Ream will boom the clearance. It's controlled initially by Mitrovic, but it's one back. Here is Grealish on the edge of the penalty area. Oliver Norwood with his first touch to clear. But it's basically attack against defence at the moment, with 11 minutes to play at Wembley on Talk Sport. Fulham leading, but with only 10 men and under pressure. Onomah has wriggled away from target into the penalty area, lays it back. It'll come towards Hourihane with a shot. The shot was blocked by an excellent challenge from Norwood. Hourihane is still down, but Fulham are able to clear.
Yeah, that was brave from Norwood. It really was. He knew that the shot was going to come in from Hourihane, and he just laid on the floor and took the full force of the shot from Hourihane in the shin. That's what's needed now. Bodies to throw themselves on the line for Fulham, because it's going to be a tough last 10 minutes or so.
Fulham fans are leaving. How can you leave when you're 11 minutes away from the Premier League? Maybe it's the corporates who've had enough. Cyrus Christie will be coming on shortly. Another defensive change for Fulham, and it's Hourihane, the player who is down, receiving some treatment following that challenge from Oliver Norwood, who was looking to complete back-to-back promotions. He was in the Brighton side, which went up last season, and now he could be in this Fulham side. And as there's some treatment being given to Conor Hourihane, let's go to Jim Proudfoot for team news on our second big game of the day coming up, the Champions League final, Liverpool against Real Madrid.
Very good evening. It is the Liverpool side we all expected. Karius in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Lovren, Van Dijk and Robertson, Wijnaldum, Henderson and Milner, Salah, Firmino and Mane. As far as Real Madrid are concerned, there's no Gareth Bale. They do play with a midfield diamond, so Isco gets the nod. Navas in goal, Carvajal, Varane, Ramos, Marcelo, Casemiro, Modric and Kroos. Isco in behind Ronaldo and Benzema. Kick-off, 7:45.
Cheers, Jim. And the build-up will start when this game finishes on Talk Sport, and at the moment we are not sure precisely when that will be. Both managers preparing their final changes. Here's the Moose on the touchline.
Yeah, Scott Hogan's coming on for the man who's limping off, Conor Hourihane. Not a great playoff record for him, I'm afraid. He was here a couple of years ago with Barnsley, and when they played Millwall. And Cyrus Christie's coming on as well. I've been told it's for Ryan Fredericks.
Cheers, Moose. And Cyrus Christie's last goal came against Fulham for Middlesbrough in the final minute of a 1-1 draw at Craven Cottage earlier this season. Had he not scored it, Fulham may already be in the Premier League. Hogan comes on. 9 goals for him this season, but only 1 since February. And Villa need a goal from anyone now. 8 minutes to play plus added time at Wembley in the Championship playoff final. On Talk Sport we have the other playoff matches coming up over the weekend. The League 1 playoff final on Talk Sport tomorrow. League 2 on Talk Sport 2 on Monday afternoon. Now Graben on the edge of the penalty area, back towards Grealish, 25 yards out, square to his right, and Snodgrass, who has not really been able to influence the game too much, but he was caught by Norwood, and it's a free kick to Villa, just right of centre, about 25 yards out.
It's just going to be tough for Fulham, it really is. They're going to give free kicks away. They're just going to have to, it's just a battle now. It's all about organisation, it's about communication and doing whatever it takes to just get over the line.
As the Moose said, it's Ryan Fredericks who is limping off towards this near side, and Cyrus Christie is the player who will replace him. And Fredericks has been excellent for Fulham the longer the season has gone on, but I think he's basically run out of juice here today.
I think he's been excellent, but he's had a tough time, hasn't he, against Adoma in this second half.
And the spider camp lingers overhead as Cyrus Christie makes his way onto the field. 7 minutes to play. Fulham leading, but with 10 men. And facing this free kick, Snodgrass whips it in left-footed, high to the far post. Bettinelli comes and he punches wide out to the far side. Adoma regathers for Aston Villa. Here is Grealish now. Onomar with the early ball into the penalty area towards the near post, beyond Terry, cleared away as far as Snodgrass, headed back in field. Callas with the clearance, and now Kearney will try and bring the ball clear. He was heavily challenged, but no free kick given. Now Grealish finding Onomar once again, looking to burst into the penalty area. Rides one challenge and then two, but then the shot blocked superbly by Ream, and Fulham clear, but there's nobody in a white shirt anywhere near the halfway line. Chester plays it in field towards Onomar. Now John Terry has time to assess his options. Goes short towards Onomar again, who's been busy since coming on. 6 minutes to play. Fulham lead 1-0. Now Snodgrass. Villa pushing hard for the equalising goal. Snodgrass again has the opportunity to find Hutton. Hutton in field towards Snodgrass. Coming short is Graben, but the ball never reaches him. And Fulham will have the throw-in, and you can sense the relief, you can hear the relief from the Fulham fans all around.
Yeah, trying to get behind their team. Mitrovic and Ryan Sessegnon working tirelessly there to make the mistake from Snodgrass, and Mitrovic has got to dig deep here because they'll need him. They need him to try and hold the ball up as much as he can, give them a little bit of relief.
And it's a throw-in for Aston Villa on the halfway line, and they take it quickly. And now the possession, which was so much in Fulham's favour in the first half, is almost 50-50. It's been a long second half for those Fulham fans. It will be a long final 5 minutes plus added time to come, especially with 10 men. Snodgrass infield again, beyond target. The early ball played in towards Hogan, who is offside. Kodja fires the ball towards goal, doesn't hit the target anyway, and Fulham have the relative sanctuary of a free kick.
Well, you have to say it's a fantastic tight line that Fulham had, considering probably how tired they are. And Hogan, you always take the gamble when you run behind a defender, and he just goes that fraction too early. You can try and get yourself in front of the defender. You can obviously see whether you're onside or not. Going behind the defender is always difficult to make sure you keep yourself onside.
Well, the Fulham crowd rise to get behind their team. Their Villa equivalents rather subdued at the moment. But here is Josh Onomar, striding over the halfway line, has Grealish in support, but he turns into trouble. Sessegnon will try and bring the ball away, but it's a throw into Villa. 85,243 the crowd here at Wembley today, as Mitrovic was caught late by Hutton, and it will be a yellow card for Alan Hutton, and more importantly, maybe in the context of the game, a free kick for Fulham inside the Villa half.
Well, 10-15 years ago, this was absolutely acceptable to win the ball and then take out the player that you've tackled, but you can't do it anymore. You've got to win the ball cleanly and without following through on Mitrovic.
Well, Phil Brown, you've had a team equalise in the dying seconds in a playoff final. What was going through your mind at this stage?
Well, that was
keep it clean.
That was 123 minutes on the clock when we did that. But both managers they're looking at the clock. There's 86 minutes on the clock. You know, it's one of them where Fulham have just got to dig deep as they can, you know, as individuals. That's what all the pre-season preparation was about. That's all the running sessions that you do. That's what all the football sessions, every day's training is coming down to the last 5 minutes of a game. And mentally, you've got to be ready for whatever Villa are going to throw at you now.
Well, these are career-defining moments. There are Villa fans in tears already, and we still have 3 minutes to play here. Fulham lead by a goal to nil, but down to 10 men. The Champions League final coming up following this game on Talk Sport, the only station to bring you both of the big matches on this Champions Saturday, as Norwood intelligently just lofts it over the top and, rather like a rugby player, just ensures he gets the ball as far as he can before it bobbles out of play.
Me and Phil are just laughing at Mitrovic. He just turned to run then, and he had a parachute on his back. He really did. Fulham have got to see this out because they're dead on their feet. Now Onomar coming forward on the far side, infield towards Adoma.
Grealish has the ball for Aston Villa, clipped into the penalty area. Kodja will try and ride the challenge of Callas, but Callas stands firm. It's back out wide towards the far side, and Adoma has Cyrus Christie for company. Fresh legs as well for the Fulham replacement. 2 minutes plus added time to play. It's back towards Grealish. Grealish was clipped, was he? Not according to the referee, and Grealish plays on, maybe thinks about the shot. He was certainly clipped there by Mitrovic, and it's a Villa free kick, 20 yards out, and it's left of centre. It is made for somebody like Snodgrass.
Oh, it's a big call because he gets the ball, but yes, he stops Grealish taking that extra touch. He sticks his foot just inside Grealish's leg. I don't think that's a foul. I think he's done well to read that and nick that off Grealish, who was dawdling slightly, but what a position this is for Snodgrass.
And we are hearing there will be 5 added minutes at the end of this game when we get to the end of 90 minutes. So there is still plenty of time for Aston Villa to rescue something here. Snodgrass is over the free kick. Every single Fulham player back defending inside their penalty area. Snodgrass curls it left-footed wide, and some way wide. And as Prince William looks on, he looks a very disappointed heir to the throne.
Well, he's tried to give Bettinelli the eyes, hasn't he? He's tried to pretend that he's going to go to that near post and then pull it back across to the far. Gets it all wrong. He's a fantastic set piece taker, but I just wonder from that, that favours a right-footed player over on the left-hand side. Maybe just dink that into the box and get the big men to attack it.
We are inside the 90th minute in the Championship playoff final on Talk Sport. The 10 men of Fulham still lead by a goal to nil. Onomar challenged by Mitrovic, and now Onomar fouls target, and Fulham have a free kick and the opportunity to keep the ball inside the Villa half for as long as possible.
Just a bit of naivety, wasn't it, from Josh Onomar? Target just waited, just tapped that past him, and as soon as he felt the contact, down he went.
Shahid Khan, the Fulham owner, looks on. He could own this place soon, but he wants to see his Fulham side in the Premier League first. 5 minutes of added time shown to the fans. There was a stunned gasp from the Fulham supporters. Slaviša Kanovic outside the technical area, micromanaging all he can at the moment. It's just helped down the line by Target and out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Aston Villa. But they're a long way from the Fulham goal as we tick towards the end of the first minute of added time. Grealish, very, very deep for Aston Villa, finding Hutton. And now Chester, a good ball forward, and Grealish is able to turn. Sessegnon doing his best to keep up with him. Grealish with an excellent ball wide to the far side. Adoma has the chance to break. 5 claret and blue shirts inside the penalty area. Hogan's header is wide. What a chance to save it.
He was free, wasn't he? He just peeled off the back of Callas, who'd come on, didn't see his man, didn't have the right body position. And again, Hogan will feel that's a fantastic chance to put his team level. Again, he's got to put the pace on the ball, because the ball across from Adoma hasn't got the pace on it, but still he's got to direct it towards goal, and he doesn't get enough on it. I always think that in that situation, so many players try and put so much pace on it, they flick their neck and don't get the power that's required.
The Champions League final coming up on Talk Sport at the end of this game, as Kodja will chase. Ream will get there first, heads the ball away, and then prevents the corner by lobbing it out to play for a throw-in. The full-time phone-in with Dan Windle live from Wembley alongside Dean will be on Talk Sport 2 from 7 o'clock. It's a throw-in for Aston Villa, taken by Hutton. Now Grealish on the right corner of the penalty area. Hutton offers support, but Grealish looks to hit the byline himself. Then he goes down. No penalty given as Target slides in. It would have been a soft one, and Anthony Taylor not interested.
It would have been a soft one, but what a call it was to make, because he'd taken it past Target. And Target was right. He didn't actually challenge. He just fell into him. He's got hold of him. No, it's not. We've just seen it on the monitor. It's definitely not a penalty. I think he's got to try and stay on his feet, Grealish, and keep the ball in.
And there's something going on inside the technical area. Moose, what can you see?
Down in front of me in a moment is a lot of commotion, because one of the Villa backroom staff is being told again by the fifth official that he's got to calm down, and when they almost clashed heads. In fact, They're actually getting really irate here. Now Stuart Gray's come across as well, but the Villa bench are getting very irate. They thought that was definitely a penalty.
2.5 minutes of added time to play. Fulham lead by 1-0. As things stand, they are heading to the Premier League. But Aston Villa, who have faced 10 men for the final 20 minutes or so, will still have to believe they can get one final chance. But Terry heads the ball away under pressure from Mitrovic on the far side, and it's a Fulham throw-in, almost level with the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area. And we have 90 seconds of added time to play. Kearney into the feet of Christie. Christie will burst towards the corner flag and then try and stay there, and the ball ricochets off first Adoma and then Christie out of play, and it will be a goal kick for Aston Villa. And we are heading towards the final minute of added time at the end of this game. Snodgrass believes he was pushed by Ream, but no free kick was given. Mitrovic, who is walking in treacle at the moment, gathers the ball, heads towards the corner flag on this near side, plays it in field towards Sessegnon. Sessegnon is then quickly challenged by Snodgrass, and the whistle has gone, and the referee has given a free kick to Fulham, and that might be enough.
Well, again, the tackle from Snodgrass, he doesn't need to go right through the back of Sessegnon. He's probably going to win the ball anyway because Sessegnon can't see him. It's naivety. You'd expect this from Fulham players who are inexperienced and young, but these are experienced players that are giving away needless free kicks.
Steve Bruce has won promotion in his last 3 full seasons as a Championship manager, but maybe not this year. Mitrovic from the free kick heads towards the byline, knocks it back towards Sessegnon. Now Mitrovic again, and it's Snodgrass who can bring the ball clear. But we've almost played the 5 minutes of added time. Grealish, he's been fouled by Norwood, and this will be the chance for Villa to get the ball forward. It's taken quickly by Chester towards Grealish. A long Hail Mary from him right down the centre. Ream leaping to clear. Then it's nodded away up towards the edge of the penalty area and hooked over the top by Kearney. Mitrovic doesn't challenge, it's nodded down, and that's it! Fulham are back in the Premier League! The best footballing side in the Championship are back in the big time, but Aston Villa, a massive club with a huge history, must toil once again in the Championship next season. The 10 men have done it, 88 points in the season, and unlike so many before them, after a big finish failed to materialise with automatic promotion, Fulham have come back and won the playoffs. A real show of character, and Craven Cottage will host all the big boys once again next season.
Well, you'd have to say that Aston Villa probably deserved to equalise their second half performance, but I tell you what, Fulham not only have shown that they're a wonderful footballing team, they scored a wonderful goal that carved Aston Villa open, but also they've shown they can be gritty, determined to just sit there and block and throw their bodies at absolutely everything to get them over the line. Well done to Fulham. Fantastic performance over the season and deserved it.
Even Prince William couldn't inspire an Aston Villa victory. Fulham are back in the Premier League.